Dear students, welcome to the massive open online course. My name is Dr. Milton Devadaivu, Assistant Professor, Department of Public Administration, Madras Christian College, Chennai. In the previous session, we were discussing about fiscal and monetary policies. We discussed the objectives of both the policies, importance of fiscal and monetary policies, what is the difference between fiscal and monetary policies. This session we are going to discuss yet another important topic is Comptroller and Auditor-General of India, in short form CAG, Comptroller and Auditor-General of India. Who is this Comptroller and Auditor-General of India? What is his role? See, the important duty of the CAG is to audit all the transactions of the central as well as state governments and union territories. We will discuss in detail. First, Indian Constitution provided for an independent Comptroller and Auditor-General who conducts the audit for all public money spent out of the Consolidated Fund of India. Our Constitution clearly tells about the need and the role and functions of the Comptroller, who performs the audit on expenditure, the money which has been spent from the Consolidated Fund of India for both central and the state governments. See, he is an independent authority under the Constitution of India. What is independent authority? Means our Indian Constitution has given such an autonomy to the Comptroller and Auditor-General, CAG. See, we have UPSC, we have Election Commission of India, we have Attorney General, Advocate General. Likewise, Comptroller and Auditor-General is also an independent authority. Article 148 provides provision for CAG for both union and state governments. From Article 148 to Article 151 clearly tells about all the details related to the CAG. Article 148 provides provision for the CAG of the country who will perform the audits for the both union and the state government. CAG is the head of Indian Audit and Accounts Department. CAG, Comptroller and Auditor-General, who is the head of the Indian Audit and Accounts Department. CAG, don't think that CAG is one person who will be performing all those auditing for union and state governments. No, under CAG, there is thousands and thousands of people are working under CAG who will be heading all those people. People from IAAS service, Indian Auditing and Accounting and Auditing Services, will be working under CAG. Apart from that, there are so many other people like auditors and all will be working under CAG. CAG is the chief guardian of the Indian public purse. See, CAG who is the chief guardian of the Indian public money, because he cross checks while doing the audit. He does so many formalities, he checks so many aspects whether the money which is being spent by the government is appropriate or not. The office of the CAG is free from influence and pressure from external sources. As I mentioned, CAG is an independent body, so no pressure from any external sources can be given to the CAG, especially the political pressure. CAG can't be re-employed after his retirement. At the same time, the tenure of CAG is 6 years or 65 years of the age, whichever is earlier, CAG will be retired. But after his or her retirement, they cannot be re-employed as a CAG. Let us discuss about the historical perspective office of the CAG. The office of the Accountant General was established in 1858. First, in the year of 1858, the office which was established and the name of Accountant General. During this time, the British took over administration control of India from the East Indian Company. The first Auditor General of India was Sir Edward Drummond, appointed in the year of 1860. After British government took over the administration from the East Indian Company, Sir Edward Drummond was appointed as a first Accountant General in the year of 1860. After some restructuring, General of Accounts to be called the Auditor and Accountant General Government of India. After the restructure, they renamed. In 1866, the position was renamed as Comptroller General of India. In the year of 1866, this was renamed as Comptroller General of India. 1884, again it was changed to Comptroller and Auditor-General of India. In the year of 1884, it was renamed as Comptroller and Auditor-General of India. The Auditor-General became independent of the government statutory under the Government India Act of 1919. So, Government of India Act 1919 gives such a position, such a power to the Auditor General, becomes independent of the government statutory. The position of Auditor General was further strengthened by providing Provincial Auditors General in a federal setup according to the Governments of India Act of 1935. So, they are given provincial auditors to Chennai, Bombay, Mumbai, Delhi and Calcutta. This act describes appointment and services of the CAG. So, this act, especially 1935 act, which describes the appointment and services of the CAG. The detailed accounts and auditing functions of the Auditor General are mentioned in the Accounts and Audit Order of 1936. In the year of 1936, the detailed accounts and auditing functions of the Auditor General which is mentioned. Also, this act was changed after independence of India. Article 148 of the 1949 of Indian Constitution provides the establishment of CAG to be appointed by the President of India. This Article 148 of 1949 established the appointment of the CAG for the India by the President of India. The enactment of duties, powers and conditions of services of the CAG was made in 1971. This act made the CAG responsible for both central and state governments accounting and audit. See, in the year of 1971, they enacted about the duties, powers and conditions of the CAG. This 1971 enactment describes the role of CAG in auditing both union government as well as the central government accounting. CAG was relieved from the accounting functions in the year of 1976. Till 1976, CAG was also taking care the accounting of the transaction, but in the year of 1976 CAG is relieved from the accounting. Now CAG will look after only in the business of auditing. Article 148 lays down his powers and defines his position. According to Article 148, what are all the duties and powers and position of the CAG is, there shall be a CAG of India who shall be appointed by President by warrant under his hand and seal, and shall only be removed from office in like manner and on the like grounds as a judge of the Supreme Court. Who will appoint CAG? President of India. But based on the recommendation from the Prime Minister, President will take a decision. But the appointment of CAG will be done by the President of India only. Also, the removal of CAG is lengthy process, whereas the appointment of CAG is, it is not that much lengthy, but removal of CAG, it is so lengthy process. Just like that, CAG cannot be removed from his position. Whatever formalities has to be practiced, has to be followed while removing the judge of the Supreme Court, the same procedure has to be followed for the removing of the CAG from his position. The person appointed by the CAG should take an oath of office before President, because President is the person who appoints the CAG, so he has to take oath in front of the President. Parliament determines the salary, service conditions, leaves of absence, pension, age of retirement. So all these are mentioned in Article 148. CAG is not eligible for any further office after the end of their tenure, either in Government of India or any state government. After the retirement, the end of the tenure, CAG cannot be re-employed in Union government or the state government. The powers and functions of the CAG are subject of Indian Constitution. Whatever powers and functions of the CAG which is mentioned in our Indian Constitution, it is, they have to follow whatever duties and responsibilities which is mentioned in the Constitution. The CAG should not hold any office after the end of his tenure in the center or state, so that after retirement, yes, they have to vacate, they have to go back. They cannot hold any office either in the state or the central government. CAG, the tenure of the CAG is 6 years or 65 years of the age, whichever is earlier, so that CAG will be retired. Appointment of CAG will be done by the President of India. Tenure is 6 years or 65 years of age, whichever is earlier. Removal of CAG can be done only by the President, but there is certain procedure. Bill has to be passed in the Parliament based on the majority. It is such a lengthy procedure, like what is the procedure is applicable for while removing the judge of Supreme Court, the same thing is applicable here. Okay. Now we will discuss about the functions of CAG. Why CAG is appointed? Why Constitution of India given such a independent authority to be established, that is called CAG? What is the role? What is the function of CAG? See, the accounts related to all expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India for Union government, state government and union territory which is having a legislative assembly, audit will be done by the CAG. Not only for the union government, for the state and union territory which has legislative assembly. So his job is to ensure whether the money which is being spent by the respective governments are appropriate or not. He performs the audit. CAG audits all expenditure from the Contingency Fund of India. See, first Consolidated Fund of India will be audited by the CAG, then Contingency Fund of the Fund will be audited by the CAG, then next one is CAG audits all expenditure of Public Account of India and states. The third is CAG also audits all the transaction expenditure or all the accounts which is related to public accounts of India for the India as well as the state governments. CAG also audits all profit and loss accounts, balance sheets, trading, manufacturing and other subsidiary accounts kept by any department of the central and state government. Apart from this fund, Consolidated Fund, Contingency Fund and Public Accounts Fund, CAG also performs audit on profit and loss of accounts, balance sheet tradings, manufacturing and other subsidiary accounts of any department of central or state governments. CAG also audits the expenditure of all bodies which is funded by either by central government or by the state government. Apart from the Consolidated Fund of India, apart from Contingency Fund, apart from public accounts and also the departments of Government of India and state governments, CAG also performs audit for the agencies which is funded either by the central or by the state governments. CAG audits the receipts and expenditure of all bodies and authorities substantially financed by government companies and corporations. See, CAG apart from all those things, CAG also performs audits for substantially financed by the government companies and corporations, all public sector enterprises and corporations. Based on the request of the President or Governor, CAG audits the accounts of any other authority. Apart from these things, so far we discussed about whether funded by government or state government or union government. But there is a special case based on the special request made by either by President or by the governors of the respective states, governor of the respective states. They perform audits on certain institutions like local bodies. CAG advises the President with regard to the prescription of the form in which the accounts of the center and state shall be kept. This is such an important one. See, there is a format to maintain the accounts for central and state government. This format will be given by the President of India. But who will prescribe this format? Who will finalize this format to the President? From President, this will be circulated to the union, state government and union territories. Who decides the format of maintaining all the audits, especially revenue and expenditure? That will be prescribed by the CAG. CAG submits the audit reports relating to the accounts to the President, which means for the union government, who shall in present place them before the both the house of the Parliament. For the union government audits, once audit is completed, CAG will submit the report to the President. See, not to the Parliament, because CAG is appointed by the President, so he is reporting to the President, he is submitting his report to the President. In turn, President will submit, President will place this audit report in front of both the houses in the Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Likewise, CAG submits the state audits to the Governor, and who shall in turn place them before the legislature. For any state governments, let us say Tamil Nadu. So, after completion of the audit, what CAG will do is, CAG will submit this report to the Governor, not to the legislature, to the Governor, but the Governor will place this audit report to in front of the legislature. CAG helps the Finance Commission how much money should distribute from the tax to the state government. See, whatever money which has been collected by the central government as a tax, they have to give back those money to the respective states. See, CAG will give the recommendation to the Finance Commission how much money can be given to the particular state based on the need. CAG act as a friend, philosopher, guide to the Public Accounts Committee. Apart from these duties, CAG also has additional duties. CAG who acts as a friend, guide and philosopher to the Public Accounts Committee. Okay, now we will discuss about what is the constitutional provision for the CAG. Article 148 tells about the appointment of CAG, how CAG has to take oath, what is the services of the CAG. Article 149, this article authorizes the duties of the CAG. Parliament enacted the CAG's duties, powers and conditions of the Service Act of 1971. CAG audits the both central and state governments, Consolidated Fund, Contingency Fund and Public Accounts of India, public sector enterprises and autonomous body funded by government, local bodies. Even for IIT and IIMs, CAG performs the audits because it is public funded organization. CAG can audit government departments, for an example manufacturing, trading and the balance sheet of the government departments. Based on the request received from the President or Governor, CAG can do audit on any other institution. Article 150 says about the accounts of the Union and of the states shall be kept in such form as the President may, after consultation with the CAG, prescribe. As I said earlier, so that President will give direction to the Union government and state government the way in which they have to maintain their reports, their accounts especially. This will be, President can given this direction after having a consultation with the CAG, which means CAG who is the one who gives direction how this can be prepared. Article 151, the reports of the CAG of India relating to the accounts of the Union shall be submitted to the President, who shall cause them to be laid before each House of Parliament. CAG submits state audits to Governor, who shall in turn place them before the legislature. Article 151 tells about the important duty of the CAG is to whom he has to submit the audit report of the Union government, that is President. In turn, President will place this audit report before both the houses of the Parliament. Likewise, for the state government, he has to submit to the Governor. In turn, Governor place this before the legislature. Article 279, the calculation of net proceeds, total tax collected and money spent for collection is assented and certified by the CAG and Auditor-General of India, whose certificate is final. What is net proceeds? See, this article 279 tells about CAG has to given the certification. What is net proceeding means? Let us assume if they are collecting 1 lakh rupee as a tax, this is revenue for the government. But in order to collect this 1 lakh rupee, they have to spend certain amount of money to collect 1 lakh rupee. For example, if they are debiting 2% to collect the tax, who will give the salary to this 2%? What about the payment of electricity bill and internet bill and other things? So that for that they have to spend certain money. Let us assume in order to collect 1 lakh rupee, if they are spending 5,000 rupees, this has to be authorized by the CAG, that is called net proceeds. After the net proceed, the next thing is third schedule, section 4 of the third schedule of the Indian Constitution prescribes the form of oath or affirmation to be made by the judges of Supreme Court and CAG at the time of assumption of office. This third schedule, section 4, tells about the oath of the CAG and the Supreme Court judges. Sixth schedule tells about the district council or regional council should be kept in such form as the CAG prescribes with the approval of the president. Dear students, so far we discussed about the CAG of our India. Hope this session is very much useful to you all. Thank you.